half of the second inning, scoreless. Barry Zito making his 9th start of the season. He has struggled in his last 3 starts, but through the first 4 hitters, he has been on top of his game. He has struck out 2 and retired the first 4 hitters he has faced. Zito, of course, Joe, came up big against the Yankees in Game 4 of the American League Division Series in the Bronx last year, as Posada skies to short left field. Johnny Damon makes the catch, 2 gone. With Bernie Williams out of the lineup tonight and still at home in Puerto Rico with the death of his father, Derek Jeter is batting 3rd tonight. It's only the 3rd time or make it the 12th time in his career he has bat in the 3rd position. David Justice at 234. He's struggling. 6 home runs, 19 runs batted in.
So he has really struggled because, I mean, David Justice is one of the best pure hitters in the game. And I actually thought he was the most valuable Yankee after he came to the Yankees last year. He was consistent in driving in runs, hitting home runs. He just did a great job after they acquired him from Cleveland.
And these are not your father's or grandfather's Yankees. They're middle of the pack in home runs. They've got 43 home runs. But they lead the majors with 46 stolen bases. So they've become the thieves of the night instead of the Bronx Bombers. Here's the 2-1. Into left field. Johnny Damon misjudged it, and it cost him.
Well, first of all, he was playing awfully deep for Justice in left field, and then he broke back, and he wasn't able to get back in time to make the play. We'll see him going back. Now he stops and tries to come back in. And the ball, he's lucky that the ball didn't get by him. He actually made a good play to keep it from bouncing past him. But he definitely misjudged it.
The fact that it was twilight time have any impact or no?
No, well, I mean, I'm not out there, so I shouldn't say no completely, but it shouldn't have. That ball wasn't high enough to get above the rim of the stadium, so it shouldn't have bothered him.
Now here's Robert Perez. Interesting story. He was recalled the other day, and he'll be playing in center field, says Joe Torre, until the return of Bernie Williams. Perez is no kid. He's 31 years old. He came up in the Toronto organization. And he swings and misses. Barry Zito making his 9th start of the season.
Very high earned run average for a guy that throws as well as Zito.
His last 3 starts, he's 0-2 and an ERA of 7 2/3.
Zito has a great fastball, a good curveball, a changeup. I mean, he has all the pitches. And anytime you're left-handed, you can throw strikes, you should win. And I guarantee you before the season's over, he's going to be a pretty big winner because he has that type of stuff, and he has a great makeup about him. His mental toughness is one of his strong points.
And here comes the 0-2. Fisted over the glove of Jason Giambi. Robert Perez, 31 years of age. He hit only 205 in spring training, but Joe Torre took a liking to him. They sent him down to Columbus, and there he was hitting .332 with 7 home runs and 27 RBIs.
And you say he's going to play until Bernie Williams returns. Well, Bernie's supposed to return in time to play in Seattle. Join them in Seattle on Friday.
Here's the 0-2. A couple of years ago, he played in center field in Japan for the Oryx Blue Wave. The right fielder, Ichiro. And he fouls it back. In fact, in spring training, Joe, Perez was telling Torre and the Yankees, this guy Ichiro is going to hit .330 in this league. It's only about 30 points off.
Yeah, so far.
So Justice is at first base. Joe Torre looks on from the first base dugout. And here's the 1-2. Instead, a quick toss to first base. Last night's game, 12 innings in 4.5 hours. Here's the 1-2. Routine grounded to short. Tejada to Menechino, and the inning is over. No runs and a hit. We'll see Terrence Long, Adam Pyatt, Eric Chavez in the A's half of the second.
ESPN2's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by The Bold Look of Kohler, your inspiration for kitchen and bath design, and by Miller High Life.
And there are Yankee fans everywhere. We welcome you back to Oakland, bottom half of the second inning. Charlie Steiner and Joe Morgan on an absolutely gorgeous night in the city, by the bay. And Terrence Long, Adam Pyatt, and Eric Chavez will hit for the A's in the bottom half of the second. Oakland comes in with a record of 16-22, 13 games behind the Seattle Mariners. They go on and win 8 of their last 12, and they're still 13 games behind the Mariners.
And Charlie, last year at this time they were 21-19, and so you see a big difference. Now they're 16-22.
Adam Pyatt waits on deck, and Terrence Long hitting cleanup tonight. He has hit first, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh in the lineup.
He had a good year last year as the leadoff guy. I mean, he's finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting. Not your typical leadoff hitter, but he did a good job for the A's last year, but they're not a typical team.
Here's the 2-0.
And the A's are a team that still, they will not hit for high batting averages even last year, but they walked a lot, they hit a few home runs, and they scored some runs. This year they're still leading the league in walks, but they're not producing runs, and one of the reasons is, you know, Johnny Damon in left field is not hitting that well.
Terrence Long, 2-2. It's almost as if the A's have thrown Terrence Long into the deep end of the pool.
Well, I think that's what they've done here today. There you see their average are 12, most walks, left on base. I mean, look at those numbers, and you see why they have struggled.
They've also grounded into 42 double plays, most in baseball. They better hurry. Roches can't get them. So Terrence Long with the first hit for the A's. Damon, Menechino, and Giambi were retired in order in the first. And Adam Pyatt, who was just recalled from Sacramento yesterday and had the game-winning hit in the bottom half of the 12th, coming to the plate.
But one of the reasons they sent him down, he wasn't getting enough at bats, because remember, he was one of the players that they thought was going to be one of the big sluggers for him this year, coming off of what he did last year, especially down the stretch.
And he was platooning in right field with Jeremy Giambi, and it wasn't helping either of them.
Right, exactly. So he went down, he got some at bats. Jeremy is back on the disabled list. Now it's Adams' turn to see what he can do, maybe playing every day for a while.
Pyatt, in his brief stint in Sacramento, hit .370. Here's the 1-0. Drill down the left field line, foul.
Adam is a guy that you can hit and run with, but with the great move of Andy Pettit, most teams do not risk having a guy picked off trying to put a hit and run on. That's one of the things that the A's have started to do more of, and that was trying to hit and run, doing bunting a little bit more, just trying to do some things to manufacture runs because they were not hitting a lot of home runs.
Well, it was the walk and the bomb last year. This year's just been the walk. So it's 2 balls and a strike in the second inning. Eric Chavez is on deck. Terrence Long has stolen a base. In fact, he's stolen 2. He's been caught once. Joe Oliver behind the plate tonight. And there aren't many better moves to first base than Andy Pettitte.
No, Andy has an excellent move to first base. He mixes in a balk every once in a while, which makes it even better. But he does have an excellent move to first base, and he keeps him honest at all times.
Long with good speed. They're paying tribute to Pettitte with a short lead.
So this is one of those situations where if you're the manager, you might want to hit and run, but again, you're afraid to give the runner at first base a sign on the hit and run because he may get picked off even on a hit and run.
Terrence Long, probably next to Johnny Damon, the fastest man on the A's team, not going anywhere, and it's a call strike, 3-2.
Well, I have to agree with Pyatt. That looked like it might have been a little bit off the plate, but very close.
It is second season. Adam Pyatt, as is Terrence Long. Not going anywhere. Got out in front and gave it a long ride for nothing. Adam Pyatt, who was recalled yesterday. He was in Sacramento taking batting practice at 11:30 in the morning. And he was called into the manager's office, told him to get in his car and drive down to Oakland. So his day began at 11:30 in the morning and ended 11:30 last night. And he drills it to left field. It is deep. Knobloch against the wall. And he made the catch. Chuck Knobloch against the wall. Robbing Pyatt of extra bases.
What happened is Chuck took off a little soon, but his momentum carries him into the wall. And watch, he decides, I can't go back any further. That's a nice play. He decides he feels the track now. He leaps up, and he runs into the wall, but he holds on.
Chuck is playing and living with a much freer mind now that second base is in the rearview mirror. Eric Chavez is a hitter at 278.
Well, you don't have to be as accurate throwing from the outfield as you do at second base. He's about as accurate as most outfielders are out there.
Lee Mazzilli, who took it upon himself to teach Knobloch the finer points of left field, and he is clearly proud of his student. Chavez grounds it foul. Chavez with 3 hits last night is now 15 for his last 39, so he has lifted his average to 278. He's got 15 doubles. He's tied for second in the American League. After the slow start, Chavez is finally beginning to heat it up. Here comes the 1-1 to Chavez. Instead, a quick toss to first base. Did you play any place beyond second base?
I played left field for a while. Our second best offensive player was a second baseman.
Where was that?
In Houston, Julio Gotay. So I played left field for about a 2-week span there, try to get his bat in the lineup.
Here comes the 1-1.
We didn't win many games, so it didn't work too much.
What was the biggest part of the transition for you going from infield to outfield?
Well, probably judging a line drive that's hit right at you, trying to judge whether it's going to carry over your head or not. That did happen every once in a while. I guess a funny point, I was playing in Atlanta once, and Hank Aaron was hitting, and he hit a fly ball.
Here's the 1-2. Foul ball.
Hank Aaron hit a fly ball, and I went back, ran back to the fence, climbed up on it, and tried to make a catch. and Jimmy Wynn was playing center field, and I looked over and he was laughing. The ball went into the third deck. And I was climbing up over the fence like I had a shot at it. So the toughest thing was really judging some of the fly balls.
Between you and Jimmy Wynn, that had to be the shortest outfield of all time.
It probably was. It probably was.
One ball, two strikes.
I couldn't throw from second either, so I didn't have a problem out there. I always found the cutoff man.
There is no cutoff man at second. There's the 1-2. Chavez gets out of the way. It's 2-2. Miguel Tejada is on deck.
But I must admit that playing left field is more relaxing than, I mean, you can relax more out there. You can think about your hitting. You can do a lot of things. But, you know, when you're playing in the infield, you're on top of every pitch. You have to watch the catcher's sign, know which way the ball's going to lean. For instance, if the ball's away, you lean that way. I mean, there are just a lot of things you have to do on the infield that keeps you in the game.
And now the 2-2. There goes the runner. Oliver's throw is not nearly in time. Bill Pito has an update for us tonight. Billy?
All right, Charlie, the Twins and the Red Sox. Minnesota wants down 3-zip, up 4-3, and LaTroy Hawkins gets Troy O'Leary. Twins remain a half game in front of Cleveland in the AL Central. Blue Jays and the Angels. Toronto coming in 3 games behind first place in the AL East, and Troy Glaus way back, his 10th homer of the year, 1-1, bottom 2.
Of course, we will see the Angels and the Indians this Sunday night on our Sunday night game of the week, presented by Nextel. John and Joe, of course, will be on television. Dave Campbell will join me on ESPN Radio for the Sunday night game of the week. And now Miguel Tejada.
It was interesting that Terrence Long stole the base on Andy Pettitte, because we've talked about how great his move is. I think sometimes you have to, if he throws to first base, sometimes you have to just guess with him and take off, and that appeared to be what Terrence Long did, because he had a great jump.
Chavez struck out for the 42nd time, and now with 2 out. Tejada with 10 home runs is 5th in the American League. The only shortstop in baseball with more home runs and more RBIs than Miguel Tejada is that fella in Texas. A-Rod has 12 home runs. Tejada has 10. With 24 RBIs, Alex Rodriguez has 26. And he's about $19 million cheaper.
That's true.
More bang for the buck, huh? Here comes the 0-2 to Miguel Tejada. Pettitte misses just outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Both he and Rodriguez are excellent players, and I mean, neither one of them have reached their peak yet. Their talent gives them an opportunity to do a lot of wonderful things in this game.
Here comes the 1-2. Tejada is struck out. That's a 3rd strikeout of the game for Pettitte. And we are scoreless through 2. We'll see Oliver, Brocious, and Chuck Knobloch coming up.
ESPN2's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Honda. Vehicles designed to help simplify your life. And by Quikrete Concrete Products. No one makes it easier than Quikrete.
Charlie Steiner, Joe Morgan, top half of the 3rd inning now. It'll be Joe Oliver, Scott Brocious, and Chuck Knobloch against Barry Zito in this scoreless affair between a couple of lefties, Barry Zito for the A's and Andy Pettitte for the Yankees. Joe Oliver steps in, 7 for 22 on the season. That's a .319 batting average, and he's an ideal guy to have on this ball club, knowing that Posada is going to be the everyday catcher. He's a veteran. He's been around, and he understands his role.
Well, he's also a very intelligent catcher. I mean, he knows how to call a good game. Plus, you know, I think Posada may have worn down a little bit last year, and I think they're going to try to make sure they give him enough rest this year.
Well, they've been running like crazy on Jorge Posada this season. He's only thrown out 7 of 38 would-be base stealers, and so there's some question about his shoulder. And he had a rough night last night. And so he's the DH, and Oliver is catching. Oliver's a lot like Todd Pratt, the other backup catcher in New York. knows his role, and he's not going to make a lot of noise about not playing much. Bill Pito with another update. What you got, Bill?
All right, Charlie, we have the Angels and the Blue Jays. Adam Kennedy. Oh, baby. Showed you gloss going deep. And this is even deeper than that. 2-1 Angels, bottom 2.
So a couple of home runs for the Angels. They are posted to the early lead. Now Scott Brocious. Of course, began his career here in Oakland. Saying before the game, the reception here is not quite as warm as it used to be.
Well, I think they realize he's a Yankee now. And the Yankees' reception generally is not good here.
It may not be good, but it is plentiful. There's a good crowd here tonight. Here comes the 1-0. Brocious, who struggled last year, has had a turnaround season this year. He and Tino Martinez both were struggling. Both roped into left field, and this time Johnny Damon does make the catch. And there's two gone. Some nice glove work in left field tonight, especially by Chuck Knobloch. He says hard work is beginning to pay off.
I really watched Paul O'Neill work in batting practice. I mean, here's a guy that's played 17 years or so in the major leagues as an outfielder, and he works just as hard today as I'm sure as he worked, his first year playing the outfield in the major leagues. In batting practice, getting jumps and running down balls in batting practice. And I try to do that because I think that's the hardest part, is that first step can mean the difference between out or a double.
Chuck Knobloch, who robbed Adam Pyatt of an extra base hit in the second inning. Knobloch popped to right field in his first at-bat. Paul O'Neill getting the night off tonight against the lefty Barry Zito.
Well, Zito seems to be getting better as far as his control is concerned. He's been able to move the ball in and out against the hitters here in the third inning.
And he's mixing his speeds nicely. Last pitch was 73. Way outside, 1-2.
Well, it was supposed to be a high fastball trying to get Knobloch to chase it, which he will do on occasion. But that one was just too far out of the strike zone. But you'd rather have it that far out of the strike zone than down the middle of the plate.
And now here's the 1-2. And again, high and away. Knobloch is one of those hitters who likes to see a lot of pitches, which is why it was so uncharacteristic in the first inning when he flied to right on the very first pitch of the game.
I think if you're a leadoff man, every once in a while you have to hit the first pitch because you don't want them to feel like they can just lay the ball in there starting off a ball game.
Now the 2-2.
Beautiful pitch.
Zito retires the Yankees in order, scoreless after 2.5. Chuck Knobloch between innings as he's warming up apparently injured himself in his last at-bat, Joe.
Well, what happens a lot of times, if you swing and miss, watch how hard he swings, and he pulls off, and he grabs his side. Now watch, you'll see him grab his side just a little bit as he starts to walk away. Well, we didn't stay with it long enough. But when I noticed that he grabbed his side, and what happens is that's how you pull your ribs. That muscle in there, swinging and missing and swinging hard.
Just saw a live shot of him out there in left field. We'll keep an eye on Chuck Knobloch. Jose Ortiz is the hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ortiz was thought to be the starting second baseman for the A's coming out of spring training, but then he pulled a calf muscle. And Frank Menechino took over. Menechino's done so well that Ortiz had a prolonged rehab assignment at Sacramento and only was recalled today after Jeremy Giambi and John Jaha were placed on the disabled list.
Well, he's the reason they felt they could trade Randy Velarde or let Velarde go, because he put up some big numbers in the minor leagues, some power numbers, and he has some speed. They just felt like he was going to be the second baseman of the future, and he still may be.
Last year led the PCL with 182 base hits and hit .351. Here's the 2-2 inside and high. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jose Ortiz was a childhood friend of Miguel Tejada in Santo Domingo. On 1 hop, Jeter retreats and throws in the dirt. Martinez digs it out. We have another update now from Bill Pito.
All right, Charlie, the runaway leaders in the AL West, the Seattle Mariners, Ichiro. The hitting streak now 21 base hit. Game is tied at 2, but here comes the go-ahead run. 3-2 Seattle, top of the 3rd.
Not only does he have a 21-game hitting streak, he has not hit in 1 game all year.
Yeah, well, it's amazing.
He's got a hit in every game but 1. If he had gotten a base hit in that one, we'd be talking DiMaggio already.
Well, I think the real thing is that he gets his swings every day. He doesn't walk, so he gets his 4 or 5 at bats. So he ends up 1 for 5 a lot of times, or even 1 for 6 a couple of times. But because he swings, he gets his at bats.
Ramon Hernandez, 2 balls and no strikes. Hernandez at 244 with a couple of home runs. Here comes a 2-0. Let me correct myself. 37 of 39 games in which he has hit. There have been 2 games.
I wasn't going to correct you. I knew that.
But you leave the dirty work to others, huh?
Yeah. Well,
here's the 2-1.
And I guess the record for games during the season with base hits is 135. Rogers Hornsby, but he did it in like 154 games. So there were only 19 games where he didn't get a hit.
Well, at this point, Ichiro's ahead of that pace.
Yeah, but that can hey, going 3 days in a row without it can catch up very quickly. So
there goes the pace.
Yeah, that's something that I mean, I just can't imagine someone getting that many hits in that many games, but over the course of a whole season.
And now the 2-2 with 1 out. Andy Pettitte threw 22 pitches in the 2nd inning. And here he's throwing more than he would like to Ramon Hernandez, the 9th hitter for the A's. Next Wednesday night, correction, next Wednesday afternoon, we have a afternoon game for you next Wednesday. Mariners and the Twins at 1 o'clock Eastern time. We'll see Edgar, we'll see Ichiro, and we'll see the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid crew. Who are these guys up there in Minnesota? And here comes a 3-2 from Andy Pettitte. Ramon Hernandez finally gets him. That's Pettitte's 4th strikeout of the game already.
Well, that was his pet pitch for years when he first came into the league, that cut fastball down and in to right-handed hitter. Looks like it's a strike, and then it just keeps boring in on the right-handed hitter, and they can't catch up with it. But he used to fall in love with that pitch and get hurt on occasion.
Johnny Damon flied to right field in his first at-bat. You know, when the A's got Damon in the offseason in that 3-way trade with Tampa and Kansas City, they thought they got the preeminent leadoff hitter in the game. Little did they know this Ichiro fellow was going to come to Seattle and just tear it up. And Damon's struggles continue. Johnny Damon in April hit .211. In May, he's hitting .190. So historically a slow starter, but it's getting worse instead of better.
But right there, he just pulls off of that pitch. I mean, normally the Johnny Damon of last year stayed back and hit the ball back through the middle and the other way. That was that cut fastball again, and he was way out in front of him.
And it's 2-2 with 2 out in the bottom half of the 3rd. And here comes Pettitte. And there goes Damon. Strikeout number 5 for Pettitte, and we are scoreless after 3. We'll see Soriano, Jeter, and Tino Martinez coming up. Chuck Knobloch continues to experience some pain in the ribcage area. Apparently, we think it was from a swing and a miss in the third inning, and he has been grimacing ever since. Spent time between innings, Joe, with Gene Monahan, the Yankee trainer, and manager Joe Torre.
Well, the funny thing about that, Charlie, is you can play with it, I'm sure, but if you swing and miss again, I tell you what, it's like a dagger going into your side. If you hit the ball, you're okay.
Alfonso Soriano takes outside for a ball. It's 1-0. Here comes the 1-0. Drilled foul. Two balls and a strike to Alfonso Soriano, who struck out in his first at-bat. Zito has struck out 3 to this point, and Andy Pettit has fanned 5 of the first 10 hitters he has faced. Talking with Mel Stottlemyre. So it's 2-2 to Soriano. This is in Knobloch's previous at-bat. He took a pitch there. The next pitch he would swing and miss, and clearly, Joe, as he was taking the pitch, something in the ribcage was clearly bothering him. Into short left field, here's Johnny Damon making the catch. And Bill Pito with an update.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. Sammy Sosa, second at bat tonight, gone. The other way, 14th of the year, 400th of his career. He's the 33rd player in history to get to at least 400 and the 7th active player to do so, even though the Cubs lost at home tonight to Houston.
And Mark McGwire, 554 and holding. Cardinals, of course, are doing just fine without him lately, but they're hopeful of getting him back perhaps in June, as late as July. Derek Jeter takes a strike. He flied to center field in his first at-bat. Derek with a couple of home runs, 17 runs batted in.
It just seems to me that Zito is getting stronger out there on the mound. His fastball seems to be moving better, and he's using the changeup on occasion. That's a great changeup.
He's been mixing his speeds awfully well. And Zito, his last 3 outings have been rugged, but tonight he has got it all together, and that's his 4th strikeout.
Well, one of the things that I like about Hernandez behind the plate is he's trying to get him to throw that high fastball, knowing that some of the hitters will chase it. He tried to get Knobloch to chase it. He didn't. But he gets Jeter to chase it up there. He threw Soriano up there after he got 2 strikes. He only does it after he gets ahead in the count, which is the right way to use that high strike zone and higher.
When the hitters are back on their heels.
Well, not only that, the hitters know they have more area to protect.
Martinez a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. Climbing the ladder or going further and further away. Breaking ball, beauty. It's amazing body language. You look at Zito now, and he is in complete control out there.
Well, we'll get a look here to see. This is one of those perfect 0-2 high fastballs, or get him to chase a slider away. He's got a perfect situation.
Well, he's playing with house money, the 0-2 count.
Well, Hernandez, tell him, do what I tell you. I like that. He was trying to take command behind the plate there. He wants a fastball up. See how he gives you that high sign? He didn't get it up, but he's going to get an out anyway.
With plenty of foul territory here in Oakland, Eric Chavez makes the catch. And that is 7 in a row for Barry Zito. And Jason Giambi's going to hit in the 4th.
Field, number 13, Michael.
As you can tell by the Yankee lineup card in the first base dugout, Chuck Knobloch is now out of the game with that rib injury, and Michael Coleman is the new left fielder. And we'll try to get a report as soon as we can on the extent of the injury to Chuck Knobloch.
I'll tell you what, the Yankee coaches have great penmanship. I mean, that was very easy to read, perfectly printed out there.
Frank Menachino to lead it off. Is it a prerequisite for one coach to have good penmanship? Because you look at lineup cards throughout baseball, there's always one coach who's got great penmanship, and it's always neat.
Well, the manager probably finds out who can print up a lineup card and lets him do it.
No balls and 2 strikes to Frank Menachino.
Well, it gives me a chance to say, hello, you see this great penmanship? Look at this. You can read everything there. I mean, you can read all the names. A lot of times, it'll get a little messy every once in a while.
All about the 12th or 13th inning when you got double switches in the right, but not so much in the American League. Backhanded play by Derek Jeter. And Menachino is robbed of a single.
All of these new shortstops, meaning the big 3 or 4 counting Miguel Tejada, they all have one thing in common: very strong and accurate arms. Look at the arm strength of Jeter. That ball never started to drop. It was just on a line all the way across. Garcia Parra has an arm like that, Alex Rodriguez, and so does Miguel Tejada. So these guys can really pick it going to their right.
Brings up Jason Giambi, who struck out in his first at-bat.
And Andy Pettitte pitched him in his first at-bat like he was the MVP last year. And that's just what he starts off. Inside corner, outside corner. In, out, in, out. That's exactly the way he pitched him, with sliders away. And he finally got him with a fastball away last time.
Giambi with 40 walks. He struck out for the 23rd time in his first at-bat. And it's a ball and a strike to Jason Giambi in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Now let's see what Pettitte does on the 1-1.
Well, he just in and out. I mean, that's exactly the pattern he used last time. In with a fastball, slider away. In with a fastball, slider away. That's the way he's pitched him so far.
And it's 2-1 with 1 out in the bottom half of the 4th.
Cut fastball away again.
And it has a tail like a comet. It's 2-2.
Right on the outside corner. So, and watch this, right on the outside corner. Perfect pitch. If he keeps that pattern, there should be a fastball back in.
That's where it was headed, but low.
Well, he missed with it. That's what it was supposed to be, fastball back in. Now he'll go away again.
Joe Oliver starting tonight. Jorge Posada struggling with a sore shoulder. Now the 3-2. Do it again.
And let's take a look. This was in the first inning. This is how he started: breaking ball, no, fastball away, fastball in, slider away. No, I'm going to miss again. Then he goes and slider away. Fastball in, and then this is a fastball over the outside corner. So in, out is the way he has pitched Giambi his first 2 at-bats.
The 3-2 on his way in. And he got too much of the plate. Foul to the left side. And Scott Brocious makes a fine catch with the backhand.
Well, there's too much foul territory here. I mean, that keeps a lot of hitters from hitting for a high average, although we know Giambi did last year. I mean, but look at all this foul territory there. I mean, normally in most ballparks, there's only, he would start to run out of room right about now in most ballparks, but he still had quite a ways to go, as you can see. But it's a nice play by Brocious, because to run that far and then make that catch going away is not easy to do.
2 out, nobody on, and Terrence Long is the hitter. Well, the Oakland A's have never had a batting champion. And one of the theories is that too many at-bats have been cost in foul territory.
Well, it does. I mean, San Francisco was the same way. The Giants ballpark, old Candlestick Park, there was a lot of foul territory. And they didn't have any batting champions either.
That's not to say that the A's didn't have a lot of good hitters.
Well, they don't come much better than Giambi is now, but it's just difficult. You're going to lose a lot of at-bats here over the course of a season, whether it be down the left field line as that one was, or over the foul ball down the right field line. There's just a lot of room.
Here's the 1-1. Broken bat. Fluke job into center field. So Terrence Long is 2 for 2, and he has the only 2 hits of the night for the A's.
Well, you can see that Andy Pettit had made up his mind he was going inside. He got inside on the pitch before. Now he comes back again, and he shatters the bat. And you see Pettit ducking. He said, "Where is it? Where is it?"
The batter.
He didn't know exactly where it was, but that's a base hit. And we've seen a couple of times this year where broken bats have turned into home runs. I saw Larry Walker hit a home run breaking his bat.
I saw one last year doing a game at Shea Stadium, Milwaukee's James Mouton. I mean, shattered the bat and over the left center field wall.
And you can see Terrence Long checking his hand. What that means is his top hand. You're always going to check your top hand because the bat is jammed back into your thumb and into your palm, and that's how you get bone bruises in there.
Now Adam Pyatt, who was robbed of an extra base hit in his first at-bat on a catch against the wall in left field by Chuck Knobloch. Maybe it was there that he initially hurt his ribs, but whatever it is, Knobloch's out of the game.
Although he hit the wall with his right side out there, and it's his left side that's bothering him. But you're right, that could have contributed to it.
Tossing. Long is back.
Well, we saw Long steal second base against Pettit in the second inning, so Pettit's going to make sure that Long knows that he has a good move.
We are scoreless with 2 out in the bottom half of the 4th. Would this make Long more or less likely to go with the score being what it is with 2 out in the 4th inning?
Well, I think you should go. I mean, if they throw you out, they throw you out. And you start the inning over next inning. But you've got to try to manufacture runs, try to get some runs.
Especially the way Pyatt, or rather Zito and Andy Pettit have been going tonight.
But it all depends on what kind of jump you can get. You just don't run into an out. But if you get a good jump, as we saw him get a good jump before. And the one thing about Pettit, if you can read him, you can. But he's very difficult to read because he does have the high leg kick. And left-handers give you more chance to run than a right-hander does. Their delivery is slower to the plate. See, that's a high kick.
Not going, and it's fouled back.
In general, left-handed pitchers are slower to the plate in their delivery than right-handers are. And if you can read them, that means you get that much extra time to run. You get another couple extra steps if you can read them right away.
But while they may be slower to the plate, it's kind of offset by the fact that they've got a straight eye on the runner at first.
Exactly. But you know, if you're a base stealer that can read the pitcher's movement, it's kind of like a green light, red light. As soon as he makes his first move, you know where he's going, and that gives you that extra step or so because of his delivery being a little slower. But a lot of guys are fooled because he's looking right at you.
2 balls and a strike to Adam Pyatt with 2 out in the bottom half of the 4th, and Eric Chavez on deck. The Athletics with 2 hits, both of them by Terrence Long, and the Yankees have 1 base hit. The 2-1. 3 balls and a strike to Adam Pyatt.
And this is the situation he was in last time against Pyatt. He was behind in the count. Pyatt got a good pitch to hit at 3-2 and hit it hard, and Knobloch made a good play.
On the season now, Andy Pettit has 57 strikeouts and only 19 walks. And now the 3-1. Make it 20 walks. First and second and 2 out.
That was a good job by Pyatt to lay off of that pitch, because it was a good pitch from Pettit, a sinker away. And watch, this is a sinker. This is the ground ball the pitch that he wants. But you can see that it's clearly low even when it crosses the front of the plate. Now's the situation, if your turn's long and you can get a good jump, you should try to steal third base, but you have to be sure you can make it, because the catcher has a clear shot at you at third. But it's easier to steal third base off of a left-handed pitcher than it is a right-handed pitcher, again, because he's slower to the plate.
And Andy Pettit with a high pitch count. This pitch coming up will be his 70th already, with 2 out here in the 4th inning and 2 on. Eric Chavez with 15 doubles. Second in the American League. He has been heating it up over the past couple of weeks after a real slow start in April. Here's the 0-1.
You know, he struggled a lot against left-handed pitching last year, especially at the first part of the season. By the second half of the season, he was playing against everyone, and he was swinging the bat pretty well against left-handed pitching, because he was going back through the middle and the other way. He was trying to pull that pitch.
And he's got that pronounced front leg kick. Through the middle, base hit. Here comes Long, and he will score the first run of the game. The throw to third, not in time, and the A's lead 1-0 on the RBI single by Eric Chavez.
Sometimes you wonder what goes through pitchers' minds or catchers' mind. He swung it. We'll take a look at all these pitches. He takes a little slider. Now he swings really poorly at that slider, so what do? You throw him a fastball, and he hits it right back through the middle. I mean, that's surprising to me. I mean, he looks so bad on the slider away, and then you throw him a fastball.
Now Miguel Tejada, a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. In the dirt, and Joe Oliver saves a run.
Well, that was a great play there. I mean, by all accounts, that ball should have bounced away, and maybe the runner at third should have been able to score, but we know the runner should have been able to go down to second. I mean, look where this ball hits. That ball hits halfway between home plate and the dirt. And look at this. I mean, that's a great play.
The value of the veteran understudy catcher, Joe Oliver. Broken bat. Off the glove of Pettit. That will score a run. 2-0 Oakland. These are the kinds of bounces and breaks the A's weren't getting in April.
And these are the kind of bounces the Yankees got against the A's last year in the division series. A lot of choppers off of Tim Hudson to beat him in Yankee Stadium. There's that cut fastball, and he gets in on the hands of Tejada. But, I mean, you got to remember the bat comes back at Pettit as well as the ball. You see him looking up after the ball, but he couldn't hold on to it. It hit off of his glove, and Tejada has a base hit, and the A's have a 2-0 lead.
All after 2 were out, and now Jose Ortiz takes one up and in. Menechino bounced to short. Giambi fouled out. And then Long with a broken bat single into center. Pyatt the walk. Chavez a single into center field. And Tejada with the broken bat infield hit. So the A's with a 2-0 lead. They led 2-0 last night early. But it would be 4.5 hours later before the score was settled.
Well, let's take a look at this. Here's that little cut fastball, and he takes a little bit off, and he gets the outside corner.
2 on, 2 out, 2 in, bottom of the 4th. That's a call strike.
And the one thing we didn't do, Charlie, is credit Adam Pyatt with great base running to get over to third base on that single by Chavez. That allowed him to score on the base hit by Tejada, the infield hit. So great base running, the great hustle to get around to third base, and that's what Art Howe says he wants these guys to do, run the bases.
And now the 1-2, and they are running.
Well, I think you should, even though it's 2 outs. A lot of guys say, well, why are you stealing third? Well, the catcher can throw the ball away, for one thing. And if you get a big jump, they're not going to be able to throw you out. And there's Art Howe. When I talked to him before the game today, he said he wanted to do more of those things, hit and run, wanted to steal a few more bases. Last year, they didn't do much of that.
Well, last year, they had the big boppers. This is the 28th pitch of the inning upcoming for Andy Pettitte.
But you just put one more thing on Pettitte's mind when you do take off like that.
Here's the 1-2. Check to swing. Did he go around? Yes. His first base umpire, Joe Brinkman. The inning is over, but 2 runs are in on 3 base hits. And Pettitte is on the short end of a 2-zip score through 4. And Roger Clemens, last night's starter, not around for the decision. He's still a horse.
He's still a power pitcher.
Jorge Posada, the DH tonight, leading off. And he takes up high, 1 ball, no strikes. He flied to left field in his first at-bat.
I like what Roger Clemens said last year. He said, I came in as a power pitcher, and I will go out as a power pitcher. I like that.
He'll go out with his boots on. Missing outside and high. 2 balls and no strikes. He's finally a Yankee, Clemens.
Good point.
Slashed foul.
Let's take a look at the pitch that he threw over Jaha. Now watch, this ball's way over his head. But Jaha pulled a groin, and you can see him stumbling out there, and he was taken out of the ball game and immediately put back on the disabled list.
Here comes the 2-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jorge Posada.
I thought you made a good point there about him. He's finally a Yankee. You know, the first year when he was here and they won, you know, they had won without him. You know, he wasn't really part of the Yankee lore, so to speak. Now he is. I mean,
in the hole, Tejada showing off his arm, getting Posada by a step.
Well, we talked about these young shortstops and the great arms that they have, and Tejada knew he had. He said, I got a cannon, I'll just take my time and flip this one over here. Now watch, sets himself. Look at that. I mean, that's not even as hard as he can throw it. That's kind of a flip.
He knew who was running.
Well, he took a look. He took a nice peek to see where Posada was, and then he took his time and fired it.
And now David Justice is the hitter. Justice with the only hit of the night for the Yankees. And that slow breaking ball had Justice.
Well, Justice didn't
jelly
think,
knees.
He didn't think it was that slow because it looks like a fastball. Right about now, it's a fastball, and you can see that he did buckle.
Here's the 1-0. Oh, that's a high fly ball, but playable in center field. Justice just got underneath it. 2 out. Barry Zito has given up 1 base hit. The Yankees have had 1 base runner. And he has been economical in his pitches tossed. And when you consider his last 3 starts, he had an ERA of 7 2/3. You said before the game you thought that Zito would come in and have a big performance tonight.
Well, I think he rises to the occasion. I mean, this is the Yankees. This is the team that, you know, he beat in the 4th game of the playoffs last year in Yankee Stadium, so he feels comfortable pitching against them. And we talked about the fact that the Yankees had 1 base hit. That ball should have been caught. Remember, Damon actually misjudged the ball that Justice hit out there. And as I said before, he seems to be getting stronger to me. I mean, just watching him, his control and the movement on his pitches, he just seems to be getting better.
And again, the body language. Just give me the ball. I want to throw it. So I can strike him out. That is the 5th strikeout for Zito. He has given up 1 base hit and given up 1 base runner through 5 innings. except for a questionable base hit by David Justice on a ball that was misjudged by Johnny Damon back in the second inning, has been perfect. He has struck out 5. And now Ramon Hernandez, Johnny Damon, and Frank Menachino to hit for the A's in the home half of the 5th. Charlie Steiner, Joe Morgan, our late Wednesday night game from Network Associates Coliseum. Meanwhile, as near perfect as Barry Zito has been, it's been a struggle for Andy Pettitte. Pettitte has already thrown 81 pitches, and we're just starting out the 5th inning. Threw 28 pitches in the 4th and 22 in the 2nd. Here's the 1-1. Here comes the 2-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So meanwhile, as well as the A's have been playing, with the clutch win last night, they're up 2-0 tonight. You look at the scoreboard out there, Seattle 3, White Sox 2.
Well, the point is, if you're the A's, you have to stop looking at the scoreboard. Your job should be to win games. You have to get back to 500 before you think about catching Seattle.
Scott Brocious and Hernandez is retired.
Yeah, your job is to take care of yourself and make sure that you start to play well and you get back to 500. Then you can say, well, now we go catch the Mariners. And that's what you have to do. You're not going to catch them until you get to 500.
That'll be the first step. The second step is that in June, the A's and Mariners face each other 7 times. So the A's season could well be determined one way or the other before the end of June. Johnny Damon takes a strike. Damon is 0 for 2. And Johnny's batting average now is down to .201. Drilled foul. You know, when all is said and done, the big 3-way deal between the A's, the Devil Rays, and the Royals, involving Ben Grieve and Roberto Hernandez and Johnny Damon, it's all much ado about nothing.
Well, you're right. It hasn't changed the standings very much for you. It hasn't helped either team.
And they're all struggling.
Yeah, that much. It hasn't helped anyone.
Here's the 1-2. Right back to the box. And Pettitte will throw out Damon, who's now 0 for 3, and there's 2 out. Now Bill Pito has an update.
Charlie, thanks. Bottom of the 9th. KC at home against Tampa Bay. Tied up at 5. And guess what? Grand slam for Joe Randa. Ball game. Royals win at 9-5.
That must have been difficult for Hal McRae to stomach since he was back in Kansas City where he was such a great player for so many years.
Oh, nothing is going right for Tampa Bay.
You're right.
Now Frank Menachino, who is 0 for 2. He takes a strike.
This is interesting. We saw Pettitte really struggle to throw strikes in the 4th inning. Now he comes out here in the 5th inning and he's back on top of the game. Just throwing strike after strike.
Well, he also needs a low pitch count inning after all the pitches he's tossed. Because since 1996, only Pedro Martinez and Greg Maddux have won more games than Andy Pettitte.
Over the time, over those years, he's been the most consistent of all the Yankee pitchers.
Here comes the 1-1. Last year, 19-9. His career against the A's, a record of 8-3. Here's the rocket. 3 balls and a strike.
I have to tell you something, Charlie. After looking at that scorecard and how neat it was, I'm going to make my scorebook neat from now on. Not today. It's already messed up today. But from now on, I'm going to make my scorebook that neat.
Looking at your penmanship, you have no chance. Drilled to deep center field. Way back. Gone! Home run! Frank Menachino! His 7th of the season. The Staten Islander, who grew up a Yankee. Yankee fan. Hits one against his old team that he rooted for as a kid.
And that's straightaway center field. Well, let's see where this pitch is. It's supposed to be away. It was away a little bit. It wasn't like down the middle of the plate, and he drilled it right over the center field wall, actually into the camera well up there.
He almost hit one of our guys. So Menachino, his 7th home run of the year. Now Jason Giambi.
See that nice little flex there?
Menachino is built like a pit bull. I mean, he is about 5'7" tops, but he is muscle on top of muscle. Not unlike Jason Giambi, who's about 6'3", 235.
One thing that Pettit's been able to do is keep Giambi off balance, as we see Menachino. There's a group of the little guys right there, Damon, Menachino, and Ortiz.
The revenge of the nerds?
Yeah, little small guys right there, all three of them. I'm kind of partial to him myself.
Giambi, the big guy, is struck out. The inning is over. But Frank Menachino with his 7th home run of the season has the A's on top, 3-zip through 5.
On Wednesday Night Baseball, our matchup, the Yankees and the Oakland Athletics. Andy Pettitte on the hill for the Yanks, coming in 4-3. Barry Zito for Oakland, his record 3-3. Further ahead in the action, we rejoin Charlie Steiner and Joe Morgan from Oakland.
A little after midnight on the East Coast, a little past 9 out here in the West. And the A's with a 3-0 lead, and Barry Zito has given up just 2 base hits. 1 legitimate hit and 1 hit that was misjudged in the outfield by Johnny Damon. Andy Pettitte has thrown an awful lot of pitches, and Chuck Knobloch had to leave the game back in the 4th inning with a strain in his ribcage area. But the story of the night to this point has been Barry Zito. This is a big inning because they've got Jeter, Martinez, and Posada. He gets through this inning.
Well, you're right. If he can get through this inning, truthfully, he will not have to go through these big guys anymore. If he can shut them down and go through.
Jeter is struck out and flied to center field tonight. Tino Martinez, he too a strikeout victim. Zito has fanned 6, hasn't walked anybody. And quickly ahead of Derek Jeter, nothing in 2.
And you can see exactly how they want to pitch Jeter. They've been throwing fastballs in tight all night. They got him to chase a couple of them up and out of the strike zone. In fact, the last time up, that was the strikeout pitch. But they've been staying right in on him all night.
They don't want to let him extend those arms.
Well, they want him to go up and away this time. See the high target? And I like that in the catcher. Make sure the knows I'm not trying to throw a strike with this. Get it where if he chases it, okay. If not, we can go back inside, as he's going to do here.
1-2. Fly ball to deep left field. It is way back, and it is gone. A home run for Derek Jeter, his 3rd of the season. It is now a 3-1 ball game. Didn't come inside enough.
Well, he wanted it up and in, and he didn't get it up and in. He got it middle of the plate in. And Jeter does a good job of getting the barrel of the bat up there. I mean, he's a very good hitter. Now, see, the target's supposed to be up. He wanted it up. Well, he hits that target. He didn't give him the high side as he did before. But, I mean, that's just good hitting by Jeter, because the pitch before he tailed the fastball away, and Jeter didn't go after it.
And pitching coach Rick Peterson immediately comes out. And in the meantime, there is bullpen activity. And it's Jim Messier
Well, I think what happens is you realize that, you know, in the middle of the order, 2 or 3 more pitches, you could be tied, so you don't want it to get that far without having someone loose. So it's going to give Messier a lot, give him some time to get loose. And I'm sure that they weren't happy with exactly how he pitched Jeter on that occasion.
So Barry Zito surrenders his first run of the ball game, third base hit. Jeter's third home run of the season, his 18th run batted in.
Now batting, first baseman Tino Martinez.
And Tino, nothing for 2 tonight, a strikeout, and he fouled out. Big slow breaking ball, this is. Tino Martinez having a rebound season. Last year hit just .258. With 16 home runs, 91 runs batted in.
Even on an off year, he drove in 91 runs. That's a lot of ribbies.
But in 97, he drove in over 140. Foul back, and it's 1-2. For the past couple of years, the Yankees have been talking about how it's going to be time for Tino to go and Roches to go, and both are in their walk years on their contracts, and they're both having terrific seasons for the Yankees.
And the Yankees are going to have some, you know, tough decisions to make at the end of the season on both of them.
Here's the 1-2 inside, 2-2. Of course, the Yankees have Nick Johnson down at AAA, and they think he may be their best prospect of all. He's Larry Bowa's nephew. And Drew Henson, of course, signed for the big money, leaving Michigan behind. And it's 3-2 now.
Well, this is always a test when a guy hits a home run. What do you do with the next hitter?
Better than a 2-to-1 strike-to-ball ratio tonight of his 90 pitches. And the first base line. This is only the second batter in which Barry Zito has been taken to 3 balls all night. As Tino gets a new bat. Art Howe and pitching coach Rick Peterson. This is a big pitch right here. Here's the 3-2. A run already in on the Jeter leadoff home run in the 7th. And Posada's on deck. And so he walks Martinez. This Sunday night will be in Anaheim, the Indians and the Angels. Now, the Cleveland Indians may have the unique distinction of having 2 potential comeback players of the year, Marty Cordova and Juan Gonzalez. And we're going to see CC Sabathia and Ishmael Valdez at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. John and Joe will be on television. Dave Campbell will join me on ESPN Radio. And that's Jim Messier, who appears to be pretty near ready. Barry Zito, who had given up no runs and 2 hits coming into the 7th, but a leadoff home run to Jeter. And now the walk to Martinez and Jorge Posada, who fly to left and bounce to short. Think this might be his last batter? If he doesn't get him?
Well, if he doesn't get him, I mean, you're looking at David Justice as the left-hander next. They may leave him, but depends on how much faith Art Howe has in him at this point.
Here's the 1-0. That's a call strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jorge Posada.
The pitching philosophy of the A's, I mean, just watching them over the years I have, they go hard in and they like to throw soft, you know, away. They try to throw hard, you know, fastballs in.
The 1-1. Another change up that misses. It's 2-1.
So this is actually another curveball. It doesn't break.
Now the 2-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Posada, the switch hitter.
I think when you get late in the ball game, you don't have the same fastball. I think you have to stay away from some of these big hitters more than you did early in the ball game.
Now here's 2-2.
Great pitch right there. Good job by Posada just to get a piece of it.
Early in the game, Yankee hitters were reaching like that seemingly on every pitch.
And that's a good changeup right there. And you can see he had a funny swing at it, but he got a piece of it. That's all that matters.
As Justice awaits on deck. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Posada. Martinez the lead at first, and now the count is full. And if you're Joe Torre, do you send the runner?
I don't think so. Posada strikes out a lot. Tino Martinez doesn't run well. So this is not a perfect hit-and-run combination here.
Posada has struck out 27 times and walked 14. Martinez not going. Ball 4, runners at first and second.
And I think Art House trying to decide, is he still throwing well enough to get David Justice out, or do I need to go get him? It's kind of hard to go get him with Messier, a right-hander, the only one you have up in the bullpen.
Now batting.
And I think it's also a situation where if you're Art House, you've got to find out what these young players are made of. You've got to find out what Barry Zito, Martin Mulder, we know what Tim Hudson's made of. These young guys, find out what they can do in this type of situation.
This now the 101st pitch of the ball game for Barry Zito, and again he freezes David Justice.
These things can make these guys really mentally tough for later on, and so you let them work their way out of these jams.
But the Athletics in the ninth, 13 games behind the Mariners, and with the last check, the Mariners are leading the White Sox 3-2 in the 7th. Fastball missing low and away. David Justice, who was money in the bank last year when it counted the most, has been struggling this year with runners in scoring position. And Zito peers in for the sign. 2 on. Nobody out. A run is in. And a ground ball to first. Off the glove of Giambi. The bases are loaded and nobody out. And that will be all for Zito as Art Howe makes his way toward the mound.
Well, Giambi goes over and tries to get to it, but he couldn't bend down to get it. And it hits off of his glove and bounces into short right field. Good job by Menachino to run it down and keep Tino Martinez from trying to score.
So the Yankees down 3-0. On the leadoff home run by Jeter, and now the bases loaded, nobody out. 3-1 in the 7th. Loaded, nobody out. A run in the top half of the 7th inning, and the A's nursing a 3-1 lead. Paul O'Neill to pinch hit for Robert Perez. Martinez, a runner at third, Posada at second, Justice at first. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Jim Messier is on in relief for the A's, making his 17th appearance of the season. And there is nobody warming up in the A's bullpen now, so it will be Messier's responsibility. Oliver awaits on deck. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes.
This is a little surprising to me that they don't have anyone up and throwing in their bullpen. I mean, you're leading the ball game. I mean, you still have a chance to get out of this jam.
And the bullpen, which was so successful last night, O'Neill has never had much success against Messier, who's behind 2-0. Ball strike, 2-1. Well, the A's bullpen was busy last night. McNulty, Tam, Isringhausen, Matthews, and Guthrie all pitched. And they got out the Yankees in 5 innings.
And somebody else could pitch again tonight if they had to.
Here's the 2-1. Ground ball, second base. Looks like it's going to be a double play. But a run scores, and the A's will take that deal anytime. It's now 3-2. But they're not out of it yet.
Well, this is a perfect pitch, but see, they go away again, which is what you're supposed to do. And that way you get the ground ball on the ground, and maybe you get the double play. They try to come inside to Justice, and he found a hole on the right side.
And now Joe Oliver, who's nothing for 2.
I think the one mistake the A's have made in this ballgame, I mean, Zito pitched perfectly up until this inning. You can't keep pounding guys inside all night when your fastball is losing a little bit of the velocity.
And the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Oliver.
That's a tough deal that Paul O'Neill had to go through. You see him still stretching here because he sat over there all this time, and then he had to go up and pinch hit. And that's not easy to do, guys.
And with Bernie Williams not with the team, Soho and Bellinger are the only ones on the bench now.
Well, we saw Zito buckling Justice with that breaking ball. So what does he do? He tries to throw a fastball inside. You can't do that all day long against good hitters, especially when you lose about a foot on your fastball as the game wears on.
And now here comes the 1-2 to Oliver. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the one thing you have to be careful of is bouncing that splitter in this situation with a runner at third base. So
water cooler none. O'Neill 1. Athletics 3. Yankees 2 at the 7th inning stretch. Athletics might. Here are the Mariners continuing to win. And the Indians were merely 10 games in front of the A's in the wild card race. They win tonight.
yeah, but the Indians, last year they were such a good team at the end of the season. You expected them to do well this year, and they're a veteran team, so the expectations didn't bother them at all. But if you're the A's, you have to say to yourself, hey, if we keep winning, we will catch them. You will make some headway.
That's been Art Howe's mantra all along. We have to get back to 500. We get to within 500 in June. We have 7 games head-to-head with the Mariners. But history does not treat the Athletics terribly kindly in that regard. Going back a half a century to 1950, only 4 teams have come back to win their division after falling 12 games behind at any point during the season. 51 Giants. And here's a looper into short left field for a base hit. So Ramon Hernandez with the 1-out single. So from 13 games down.
My only answer to that is
Left fielder, Tony Davis.
that's on a piece of paper. And they're going to play the rest of these games on the diamond. And history doesn't, you know, I mean, I agree with you that in theory that it doesn't look good, but I've seen it happen, so I know it can happen. Well, and I think that's the point. And be sure of this, Seattle's going to hit a slump. I mean, Ichiro's going to hit a slump. You know, it doesn't mean he's not going to end up hitting what he's hitting now, but he's going to go into a lull. The team's going to go into a lull, and it's going to give the A's a chance.
Here comes the 1-0. Johnny Damon, who's nothing for 3. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out, 7th inning. The Yankees in the 8th will have their 9, 1, and 2 hitters coming up. This game has the feel of last night's game when the A's had the early 2-0 lead. And then, of course, they ended up playing 4.5 hours in 12 innings. The A's here had a 3-0 lead into the 7th inning. As we take a look at the standings. And the Rangers lost at home tonight. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball right into the glove of Tino Martinez. They're not going to get the double play because Damon simply runs too well, but now there's 2 out.
Well, that's hitting in bad luck there because that ball was hit very sharply. And watch how hard this ball is hit. I mean, it's a couple of feet over. It's a base hit. But it's hit right at Tino Martinez. But as you mentioned, Damon beats the throw back to first base.
Second baseman, Frank.
And Tino Martinez is really an underestimated defensive first baseman.
I agree that he plays very good defense at first base. Scoops up a lot of balls out of the dirt from these infielders as well.
And Frank Menachino, who homered to straightaway center field, his 7th of the season in his last at-bat. Apparently Pettit recalls. Menachino, native New Yorker, with a thick New York accent. There's nothing pleased him more than to hit a home run against the team that he grew up rooting for. Andy Pettit, 133 pitches. How much is too much?
I think this is no doubt this is his last inning.
Here's the 2-0. But there is nobody warming in the Yankee bullpen either.
Yeah, they'll be warming at the end of the inning. I mean, I know Joe Torre is not going to let him throw 160 pitches or so.
Toss to first base. Damon is back. Damon with 2 stolen bases last night. The Yankee bullpen, which was a question mark going into the season, has been just terrific so far. But the fear is that they're being used too much. Awaiting the call from the dugout. 2-2. Damon picked off. This is one of those nights Johnny Damon wishes he could dig himself a hole and hide. We go to the 8th, and it'll be the 9, 1, and 2 hitters coming up for the Yankees. It off for the Yankees in the top half of the 8th inning, to be followed by Michael Coleman and Alfonso Soriano. It is now a nail-biting 1-run affair. Barry Zito at the moment stands to win this thing. It is a $1 hot dog night tonight at Network Associates Coliseum. Only part of the reason, we assume, for the sellout crowd of 43,932. Of course, $50 seats and $1 hot dogs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Scott Brocious, who doubled back in the 6th inning and lined to left field. Skies it to right center. And it's Terrence Law. And we have an update now from Bill Pito.
All right, Charlie. Boston once led Minnesota tonight 3-0, but the Twins came back. Brian Buchanan with the game tied at 3. Pinch hit home run on the bottom of the 8th, and the Twins beat Boston 4-3. Texas and Cleveland. At one point, the Indians were down 3-1 in the 9th. The Homer Cabrera caps off a 3-run ninth. and the Indians go on to win 4-3.
Can things get any worse deep in the heart of Texas? Man. Michael Coleman, who replaced Chuck Knobloch injured his side tonight, either making a catch or checking his swing. Somewhere along the way, his rib cage went out on him. And a ball strike to Coleman. And Jim Messier, who came in and was just absolutely outstanding in the 7th inning, came in with the bases loaded, nobody out, and a ground ball to second, and Aquino throws out Coleman, 2 out. Now looking to locate key plays of the game. Let's go back to the 4th inning, and Eric Chavez threw the originator with the first RBI of the game, and Frank Menachino in the 6th inning, the native New Yorker, with a home run to straightaway center field. And there is Derek Jeter in the 7th inning, providing the first run of the game for the Yankees. It is 3-2 with 2 out here in the top half of the 8th inning. And Alfonso Soriano is nothing for 3.
And I guess now we see why Art Howe didn't have anybody warming up in the bullpen, right?
Messier has just been spectacular. He was the only one of the regulars out of the bullpen who did not pitch last night. McNaughty, Tam, Isringhausen, Matthews, and Guthrie did. So Messier is well rested, and he has come in and just been spectacular. And when you consider what a terrible start he got off to in April. And here's Tejada throwing out Soriano by a step in a 1-2-3 inning. We've got Mendocino, Giambi, and Long coming up.
The Oakland Athletics, Andy Pettit on the hill for the Yanks, coming in 4-3. Barry Zito for Oakland, his record 3-3. Further ahead in the action, we rejoin Charlie Steiner and Joe Morgan from Oakland.
And now Jason Giambi. A rare night in which he has not gotten on base. Giambi has gotten on base this year 35 of the 38 games in which he has played. And barring something unforeseen, he'll not do it tonight.
Pettit has had him off balance the entire evening, and I think it started with his first at-bat when he kept coming in and out. He moved the ball around so well that Giambi could never get comfortable. And even that pitch there was a fastball away, but he just couldn't get to it. And I just think that Pettit has done a great job of pitching to Giambi tonight.
And Jason Isringhausen will be called on to close the door in the 9th inning. And he's got a tall order in front of him. Terrence Long, who has 2 hits tonight and lined out in his last at-bat. Izzy, if he comes in the 9th inning, and presumably he will for the save opportunity, will face Jeter, Martinez, and Posada. The middle of the lineup for the Yankees in the 9th inning. Nothing comes easy for the A's, does it?
No. Well, you know, they're in a position where they can win this ball game. That's all you can ask. Because these are the world champions that they're playing.
A ground ball to short. Jeter. Some athletic move to get Terrence Long. And Derek Jeter makes the play, will lead it off in the 9th. It was his home run in the 7th that got the Yankees on the board. 9th inning. Jason Isringhausen in search of his 6th save of the season, Joe.
Well, he has been the closer here for the last couple of years. He's pitched great. He was one of the reasons that the A's were able to win the division last year, because he was able to close out so many games for Hudson and Zito down the stretch.
And he is a free agent at the end of the year, as is Jason Giambi, as is Johnny Damon.
It'll be interesting to see how they attack Jeter. They wanted to stay tight on him the first couple at bats, and they were successful. They tried to get in there again last time up with Zito, and he hit it out of the ballpark.
But at that point, Zito was beginning to run out of gas.
Exactly. So we'll see if they feel like they can get back in there. And, of course, Isringhausen has a great curveball as well.
Throws easily in the mid-90s. That time was a breaking pitch. One ball and no strikes to Derek Jeter, who hit his 3rd home run of the season in the 7th inning. 2 balls and no strikes. Inevitably, those leadoff walks late in the late ball game, late innings, come back to haunt you, and immediately Isringhausen falls behind 3 balls and no strikes. Fastball 3-1. Outside and drilled the other way and deep and off the wall. A leadoff stand-up double for Derek Jeter in the 9th inning. He went with the pitch.
Well, that's what happens when you fall behind and he knows that a fastball is coming. He sits there and he looks dead red, and you give him the fastball out over the plate where he likes it. So he likes the ball out over the plate because he inside outs the ball. You see that ball's in the middle of the plate almost, and he inside outs it, but he drilled it off the top of the wall. Actually, Pyatt could have caught it if he could have gotten there in time. He couldn't get there in time. It wasn't that high off the wall, but he couldn't get there in time enough to make the catch.
And now Tino Martinez, whose walk struck out and fouled out. Derek Jeter is the tying run in scoring position with nobody out.
And Tino's job will be to try to make sure he pulls the ball. Even if he doesn't get a base hit, pull it to the right side. Obviously, he's trying to get a base hit, but he needs to pull it to the right side just to make sure he moves Derek over to third.
Tino hasn't had much luck against Isringhausen. 1-0. Jeter the lead at second. 2-0. Isringhausen playing with fire, falling behind Martinez as he did with Jeter.
And neither the pitcher Isringhausen or the catcher Hernandez were happy with that pitch called the ball. They thought it was up high enough to be a strike.
And now the 2-0. Just missing outside.
Now they're very upset. I mean, you can tell by just the way that, watch how they receive the ball. Now watch the catcher. He thinks this is a strike. And then he just called the ball, and you see him check himself even before he threw it back.
Home plate umpire Darrell Cousins. 3-0. A high fly ball. It's going to stay in the park for Adam Pyatt. Jeter tags. Jeter goes. Here's the throw. He's safe.
Well, that was a very smart play there by Joe Torre, because he wanted to give Tino a chance to pull the ball, and he knew 3-0 Isringhausen was going to try to give him a pitch to hit, and he pulled it, but he didn't. He hit it to the right field, so he gets the runner over to third base. But he was trying to get a home run here. He's trying to get an extra base hit here, and Tino had a pitch to hit. He just got under it, and a pretty good throw by Adam Pyatt, but Jeter, with a lot of speed, is able to make it over to third base.
And so now the tying run is 90 feet away, and the infield is in. Jorge Posada batting from the left side for the first time tonight. He's the DH tonight. Luke just foul. Couldn't have been fouled by more than a foot. A nervous laugh from Jason Isringhausen.
Well, If you take a look here, the A's infield, they're getting in on the grass. I think that's too close. You don't have to be that close to throw a guy out the plate. I mean, you're giving a lot of room when you're that close in on the hitter.
Broken bat, fly ball, short center field. Terrence Long can't get it. The Yankees will tie it. Posada's 26th run batted in of the season. And we are tied at 3.
Baseball, our matchup, the Yankees and the Oakland Athletics. Andy Pettit on the hill for the Yanks, coming in 4-3. Barry Zito for Oakland, his record 3-3. Further ahead in the action, we rejoin Charlie Steiner and Joe Morgan from Oakland.
As we go to the bottom half of the 9th inning, gives us an opportunity to tell you this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Major League Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions may not be disseminated without express written consent. Log on to MLB.com today to cast your Radio Shack All-Star online ballot and vote for your favorite All-Stars. Major League Baseball. Connect with it. As we go to the bottom half of the 9th inning, Brian Boehringer is the new pitcher for the Yankees. Making his 11th appearance.
He's done a fantastic job. 0.83 earned run average, but 20 strikeouts in 21 and 2/3 innings, and only 8 bases on balls.
And now Adam Pyatt. Nothing for 2 and a walk tonight with a high fly ball to left field, but it's going to stay in the park. He just got underneath it.
Actually, he swung at that with all arms, just his upper body. He didn't have any drive into it. Watch, he'll just swing at this with his upper body. See how he already took his stride actually before the ball came. Watch, see, strides now, all he does is swing with his upper body, and you can't really drive the ball doing that.
Now Eric Chavez. Chavez 2 for 3. And an RBI. There's a ball and a strike and an out. The Yankee bullpen, which was thought to be somewhat of an Achilles heel for them in the early part of the year, well, it has been just outstanding. Besides Boehringer and his 20 strikeouts in 21 and 2/3 innings, he has held opponents to a 188 batting average. Mike Stanton has allowed 1 earned run in 18 outings. And a fly ball to center field. For those of you awaiting NHL tonight, it will follow us, John Bushy-Gross, Barry Melrose, Ray Ferraro working late. Complete Avalanche Blues analysis and game coverage, and a preview of the Devils and Penguins. Of course, that game is tomorrow night. 2 out, nobody on, and Miguel Tejada, 1 for 3.
And Tejada has been the power source for the A's the last few ball games.
Brian Boehringer in 21 and 2/3 innings has given up 2 home runs. Here's the 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes. Boehringer in his second tour of duty with the Yankees.
And you can see right there, 2-0, they didn't want to give in and give Tejada a fastball. But I think if you're Art Howe, you let him swing away here.
That's Robin Jennings, who will pinch hit for Jose Ortiz if it gets that far.
Ball strike. He was taking all the way.
Again, but that's a strike, and Tejada can't believe it, and I'm sure Darryl Cousins just loved the flip of the bat.
Well, I think you have to, you know, shouldn't blame Tejada because there's Art Howe yelling at him. There were a couple of pitches that Isnhausen threw, and that ball is definitely low. And there were a couple of pitches that Isnhausen threw that they didn't like, that were called balls.
Now the 3-2. Foul back. Just beneath us.
And I'm sure Art Howe is yelling at him, give us the same pitches.
Do it again. 3-2, 2 out in the bottom half of the ninth. The Yankees scored 1 in the top of the ninth. Here's the 3-2. Again, foul to the screen.
Good job there by Tejada to foul that pitch off. Again, they don't want to give in to Tejada because they know he can hit the ball out of the ballpark, so that was a 3-2 breaking ball. This is a 3-2 breaking ball. It doesn't do much, but that might have even been a splitter because that ball didn't look like it had much rotation on it.
Now again, the 3-2. And again, Tejada fights it off. Tejada, 30 home runs last year, 10 already this year, so he's on a pace to hit another 30 this year. Here's a 3-2. And again, he keeps alive. An impressive at-bat. This will be the 10th pitch to the 24-year-old shortstop. Foul back. It's getting entirely too close to him. Tiger Stadium, you took your life in your own hand.
Yeah, that was a
game.
Tough place to call a game from. You're right.
Here, at least you have time to dive. Tiger Stadium, you had no time and no chance. Here's a 3-2. Fly to right field. Hooking. Foul.
You're right. Tejada's done a good job of battling. He's hit all the different pitches that Boehringer has thrown him, and he's been able to spoil them. Look at that. That's a knee-high fastball diving away, and he's able to foul it off. Good job by Tejada.
And this will be the 12th pitch in this battle between Brian Boehringer and Miguel Tejada. Here it comes, and it's popped up. In foul territory, Scott Brocious. And we are working overtime on the West Coast. We head to the 10th inning. And we are tied at 3. Brocious, Coleman, and Soriano coming up.
Great to have you with us on Wednesday Night Baseball. Our matchup, the Yankees and Oakland. The Athletics, 13 games behind Seattle already. While the Yankees, there's been some sense that they've been struggling, but yet they're only a game and a half out of first in the AL East. Sunday Night Baseball right here on ESPN. We'll have the Cleveland Indians taking on the Anaheim Angels Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And after a break, we will rejoin Charlie Steiner and Joe Morgan from Oakland. Stay with us, everybody.
Into the right field corner for a base hit. Hernandez on his way to third. O'Neill having trouble with the ball. They will hold Hernandez at third. Runners at second and third and 1 out.
Well, Hernandez hurt himself, and that may be one of the reasons he stopped him, or he may hurt himself trying to stop. Well, he's running full speed right there. He hits the corner, then he tries to stop. Well, his right ankle twisted. You can see him slip on the grass. Watch his right foot once he tries to stop. It kind of spins out right there. Right there. You see it slip, and he kind of turned his ankle a little bit. Right, watch here, the second stop right there. You can see his ankle turn. I must admit, I was surprised that the Yankees were playing Damon to pull as much as they were, because he's been hitting the ball the other way and late on a couple of pitches. And Paul O'Neill was playing him pretty much straight away in right field.
And Mark Delhorn is the pinch runner. And he represents the game-winning run. So Bellhorn at third, Damon at second. Infield is in.
Well, the outfielders have to come in as well.
Yeah, it's still fairly deep.
Yeah, they are. They're still playing pretty deep.
And now Frank Menachino with a chance to be a hero. Runners at second and third of high ball one.
So I think this is a situation where if you're the A's, you go on contact. If he hits a ground ball to one of the infielders, you still come home. Make him throw you out. And that'll, because you'll still be able to have Damon move over to third base and trade places with him. So you put a little more pressure on the defense if you send the guy on contact.
That's going to win the game. Menachino with the game-winning RBI as Bellhorn scores, and the A's win it 4-3 in 10. Frank Menachino, who homered in the fifth, drives in the game-winning run in the bottom of the 10th.
Good job by Menachino. He gets a fastball middle of the plate, and I mean, he rips it. There's no doubt about this. This ball hits at the base of the wall in left field, and the A's win it. And I tell you what, the one thing the A's are proving to themselves is they can play with the Yankees. They know they can play with anyone, and they're playing right along with the Yankees. Now they're playing good baseball again. They're getting good pitching, and that's what they need.
So the A's win the first two of this three-game series from the Yankees, 4-3 in 10. Coming up next on ESPN2 NHL Tonight. For Joe Morgan and our entire ESPN crew here in Oakland, I'm Charlie Stunner saying good night. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.